Welcome to episode 3 of Show and Tell. Before I bring on Jim Jones in a minute, I want to continue to send my regards to everyone and their families and hope they're, staying safe during these trying times. And as usual, hopefully this could serve as a little nice, healthy distraction for everybody today. I'm really excited to show you guys a couple things real quick that have caught my eye. I'm always obsessed with vintage cars, as most of my friends know. And today I want to show you two Ferrari 250 GTs and a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. So quickly, look at that Ferrari. I mean, look at that. The headlights of that are just absolutely sensational, magnificent. I'm going to show you another version real quick. Look at this gray version. Unbelievable. I mean, if you're a vintage car lover and you don't like that, I don't know. And then check out this Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. I'm just obsessed with it. I'm always obsessed with Mercedes-Benz from the 1960s, and that one definitely is one of my favorites. I wanted to quickly show you guys that. And as always, I wanted to show you an essential this week. And this week is going to be, hold on, I have it right next to me, Hibiki. It is my favorite Japanese whiskey. It has an oak flavor and a smell, and you can notice it right away. My suggestion always, when you have such great whiskey like that, it retails for $100 in New York City, so for special occasions it's great, is to put it in a great whiskey glass, put a block of ice on it, and if you wanted to get like a mold or something like that for that ice block, you can find one on Amazon for about $10. So it's just, that's the way to do it. I sometimes pair it with a cigar and enjoy a little bit. But one little hack I want to give you guys about this bottle real quick is it's such a nice bottle. I don't know if you could see the details of it, but if you remove the label, you could actually use it as a decanter. So you can get some multi-purpose once it's done, which I love. I always want to give a manufacturing tip, and we're going to be bringing on Jim Jones in a minute. I can't wait for that. Today we're going to quickly touch on what a pattern is. So that basically acts as your stencil for your manufacturer, and every style in cut and sew needs a paper pattern. For efficiency, you can have a digital version and basically send it to your manufacturer, and then they could print it out for you. But every single style needs one. And even if, let's say, you have an existing style and then you want to like update it and there's like a couple changes, the pattern must be updated. So I just wanted to quickly bring that to people's attention. And right before we bring on Jim, I want to let everyone know that we're now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. So without any further ado, let's bring on the legend, Jim Jones. What's going on, Jim?
What's up, my brother?
I'm so excited to speak with you today. I actually am excited for you to show a lot of your knowledge, because I know people always look at your style, and I want to talk about that for a minute, but I don't think they really understand how knowledgeable you are. So without any further ado, I have a question for you real quick to jump right off the bat. So as you know, Dipset was responsible for an entire style movement in the early 2000s. And people still mimic your style to this day. It's absolutely amazing. I know all the nicknames, the saucer, and all. How did that happen? How have you been influential in the style game for this long? It's unbelievable.
I haven't changed.
Well, that's a good answer. So, having said what I just said, since you're a pioneer, where do you see fashion and hip hop going over the next decade? Like, what accessory do you see going to pop? What's going to be the new look? What do you think?
I honestly don't know where the next look is going. My look derives from a rock and roll hip hop look that just like to how rock stars was looking when I was younger. I always was a fan of some of their looks. So I emulated it and mixed my own flavor with it. And people kind of dug it, and I appreciate everybody who thought that's the way fashion should start pushing too. But as for the next phase of fashion, I don't know. I mean, I'm always going to wear what I like. I have my own sense of fashion, so I've never really followed the fashion trends or followed where fashion was going. I kind of just roll with the punches and where my fashion leads me. Somehow I always seem to find myself in the middle of wherever we at in fashion. I mean, I seem to be able to complement what's going on at that time, and I'm just gracious that I can do that. You know, it's you got to stay relevant no matter what's going on. You got to be able to reinvent yourself, but maintaining who you are is very important. And you
Absolutely.
know, there's a big difference between fashion and splashing. There's a big difference between having a stylist and having style. I mean, it's a lot of differences when it comes to really getting fresh. Some people would think that the drip means you have every name brand that you could possibly think of in your closet. When it's actually the opposite of that. It's more of this: how less of a name brand can you wear to still make yourself, still make people feel like you got on some name brand shit. So it's all in how you carry yourself. But at this point with my success, pretty much anything I have on, somebody might think that it's designer. But
Hmm.
before I was at this point of success, when I was coming up, we had to be creative in the ways when it came to dressing because we didn't have it back then. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Whatever we hustled to get fly, but we had to mix it up. And I just was a fan of different ways of making my get fresh last or making my dollar stretch so that I could get more fresh and things like that. And I became good at it. I mean, just mixing my style with all the things that I wanted or all the things that turned me on, and gave it a shot, and I still do the same thing to this day.
Wow, what an answer. Dropping gems left and right off the start. I love it. So, obviously you get to travel a lot, right? So I wanted to know if you had a favorite city to shop and like what stores you hit up. Like if you have a favorite location or anything.
Um, I would say between LA, New York, and Miami would be probably my favorite places to shop.
Hmm.
They got a lot of drip between those places and stuff like that. Like a lot of things you won't find anywhere else. Um, but there are a lot of hidden gems throughout the country. There are a lot of dope stores when you visit these different states. There's a lot of mom and pop, quote unquote, fashion boutiques that are in a lot of these different states that
Hmm.
you might find different hidden gems and things like that. It's all about finding something that you need, something that you got to have. And sometimes you go to these different stores and they have it. You know what I mean? Like even with designer stuff, you might go to a Louis store in Houston that you find some stuff that they don't have in New York or they don't have in LA,
Very true.
and you score. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so, it's like that. You got to know how to shop.
So you just segued into something that I wanted to talk to you about with you perfectly. Thank you. So I remember when you pulled up to one of my runway shows, your wrist game is insane. And then if you look down, your kicks are always like, I mean, on point to like where I'm like, man. So like, so do you have any, I mean, I don't know if you have any near you, whether it's a watch or sneakers, but can you either show or talk about like some of your essentials and what your favorite sneakers are and what you lean to for like watches and stuff?
Um, Sneakers. I mean, well, I'm a Air Force One connoisseur, Air Force One head, whatever you say. Like that's kind of my go-to sneaker.
Hmm.
A all white pair of Air Force Ones, either low top or high top, and there's plenty of colors that look good too.
Hmm.
Um, I'm also a Jordan fan. I like a lot of Jordans. Air Max are good. Depends on the outfit you got on. So
Do you have a favorite Air Max like year, like whether it be 95, 97, or Air Max 1?
I like the Air Max one.
Oh, me
It's
too.
pretty slick. You know what I mean? Give you a good vibe. So I mix it up. But yeah, definitely an Air Force One would probably be my go-to sneaker out of everything. If that was the only sneaker I could wear.
Awesome. So, do you have a favorite outfit ever from like a music video where something like where you watch that music video later or even like an award show and you're like, man, I did the damn thing on that one?
Um, that's a lot. I pretty much feel like I do the damn thing when I come outside every day. But um, I'd say maybe like VH1 Honors when I did, I believe I did like Cypress Hill over something like that. Yeah, I believe one of them shows and shit like that. I had on an outfit that I kind of thought was kind of jiggy. Yeah,
Love
a bunch
that.
of them though.
Love that. So, do you have a dream watch or even like watches that you currently like or own?
I had a few watches. I don't know if I have a dream watch per se. I like Rolex. I like Audemars. Everybody's on the Richard Mille and you got the Tex and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Once again, I get what I like. I ain't really into following the crowd.
I
Not
respect
for
that.
not for no clout chasing. You know what I mean, and the price. It ain't about the price. It's about what I like. So
Love that. Cartier is always classic too. So I'm
yeah, I got a
with you.
couple Cartiers. My wife got a few Cartiers. Like
I love
a
that.
few watches. A few watches.
So as far as cars go, I'm a vintage car guy. So I don't know if you're more of a modern car or vintage car guy. So can you talk to me a little bit about what kind of cars you like and maybe like the first car that you got that you just were like so happy that you were able to get?
Um, shit, I didn't have probably every car you could imagine and crashed them, trashed them, got
Okay.
rid of them, traded them, lost them. I didn't did so much because shit. I mean, I don't really got no dream car. Right now, I do. My next two cars that I'm gonna get just for nostalgic value. I'm gonna get the Bronco and OJ Simpson white. They got the Bronco that they bring back
Amazing.
out. Yeah, I'm gonna do the OJ Simpson white in that, and then I want to get the new Corvettes that just came out that
Okay.
put you on mind of a Ferrari, and not because I can't get a Ferrari because we have a Ferrari
Uh,
garage right now, but more or less I like the body. It feels slick. I had a few Ferraris. I mean, I had a few Ferraris also, but I had a few Corvettes in our time. I remember police took like two of them for excessive
uh,
speeding on the highway and shit like that. But yeah, I mean, I used to be in love with cars, all type of cars. Like you couldn't get me out of them. The Benzes, Banks, Coupes, 600s, 500s, the 6.3s, Porsche trucks, Benz trucks, Maserati. I was like the first one in the country with a four-door
wow.
Maserati when it first came out. I done had Bentley Spurs, Mosaines, drop top GTs,
Whew.
Land Rovers, Porsche turbos, 911 drops,
Oh God.
Phantoms. No, not a Phantom. Ghost, Lambo, Rari. Um, right now I've been chilling. My wife got a couple cars. She got Ferrari, Range,
I love
Cadillac,
that.
simple shit. I got a soccer mom van. I move around a little light right now. I don't really haven't been into the cars. When I kind of took a hiatus, and you go through your ups and downs in the games. I made a smart choice in my favor. It was like either go get the drop top Dawn for excess of 300,000, or get this Cadillac truck and hire a driver, and you got to drive no more. So I
That's
made that
true.
decision years and years ago. So that always worked in my favor. It kept me out the driver's wheel. My family and my lady ain't really too much fans of me driving. Had a lot of incidents of drivings and things like that, and police chases and accidents, and just I'm a little bit high strung when I get behind the driver's wheel. I don't know how to chill. So I've been chilling.
That's great. So, one thing, Jim, that I look up to you for is even outside of music. It's amazing. You have a very true entrepreneurial spirit, and I think it's very evident, especially for people who follow you. So, I wanted to ask you something. What is your dream collaboration in or out of your field of work? You could answer both, one of them, but I would love to know what your dream collab is in or out of your field of work.
My dream collab?
It could be with anyone. It could be with Warren Buffett. It could be in music. It could be literally anything.
I mean, I wouldn't know with my I wouldn't know what my dream collab would be. I got an appetite for so much. I'm inspired by a bunch of people. There's a lot of things I would like to accomplish still before my young life is over. So I don't know, man. That's kind of a broad question for me. I kind of got to think about it. You know, it's a lot of people that I consider dope people and wouldn't
Hmm.
mind doing business with in different fields. And there's a lot of dope people that I've met along the way. Um, so there's a lot. Like, you know, I've had friends that have offered me jobs that have nothing to do with rap and things like that. Like, I got a buddy who's in the oil business, and I still got a job offer to this day. Like, if it go bad, man, you come over here and make just as much millions of dollars as you making with rap. You ain't got to do too much. So, it's a lot of different walks of life that we can go into besides just doing music. And so, can't answer that right now. It's kind of
Well, and to speak of that, Jim, you really have diversified. So, is there any like project that you're working with outside of music? I know you have Saucy going on. I know you did a collab with PRPS, which I saw with your son, which obviously
yeah.
everyone loved. Like, is there any collab that you've done that stands out to you?
Um. Well, the PRPS one was a good one because that was like my first real fashion collab with uh, a well-known fashion brand.
Hmm.
But I would say right now my fitness, like Saucy, is it's a great venture that I'm involved in, being able to be part owners inside of this marijuana brand, which we probably provide the best flower in the market right now. And I can say that with a big smile, as you can see. Well, fitness has been doing pretty good for me. Been a fan of fitness for years. I've been working out for years, trying to stay in shape. As
Hmm.
people can see, damn it, since balling. In the video, you see me doing push-ups. So, just pushing the envelope and staying healthy for my own self. It wasn't necessarily for to make money and now that we have all these social media outlets, and I've been showcasing fitness on my social media channels for the past years. It's finally coming together where people are noticing the things that I've been doing. And now that everybody's stuck in the house and all you have is your phone device or your
Hmm.
computer or your television, people get to dig into the things they like the most now, or the people that they find that intrigue them the most. And through that, I've gained an extra notoriety when it came to fitness, and I appreciate it because this is something that I hold dear to my heart.
I love that. We got to get you a men's health cover up next. That's what's up next for.
Gotta be super big.
I know the editor in chief, so I'm going to have to put in an email after this call for
Yeah, you
sure.
need to tell them really, really go through my page and check me out. You know what I mean? And if I get that opportunity, I'm gonna make sure I know I'm gonna make sure everything is right.
I
Get the
love
six
it.
pack and everything glowing. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's funny. So, I need a favor. You have had the opportunity to walk our runway twice, and you completely shut it down. I mean, our people were cheering for you. You were amazing. So, can you just quickly describe the energy at a Grungy Gentleman runway show, or what you felt? Just your experience.
I think that was like my first. I would say that was like my first runway show that probably participated in that I could remember. That's dope. The energy is dope. People's dope. It's a little bit different than what you would consider your normal quote unquote runway show to be. The atmosphere was inviting. It wasn't all stuffy and stuff like that, but definitely felt great. You know what I mean? The clothes is dope. That's one thing about being involved with a fashion show. Well, I would say that's what it is the clothes got to make you feel like something, but that ain't always the case when you're the model. But in that day, that was a grungy fashion show, so the clothes were pretty dope. And when you got on some dope clothes, that puts an extra dip in your bop, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. So I have one more question before we enter our rapid fire question part of the segment. Okay. So I wanted to know, do you have a favorite upscale and also just regular hole in the wall place to eat?
Upscale?
Like upscale and then also like a regular, like not upscale, just like, what are you
I
feeling
don't
food
really
wise?
listen. I don't really know what upscale is when when I met my lady, I thought upscale was PF Chang's. She laughed at me, so you know, what I mean, I'm still, I'm still one of them hood boogers. But I would say, and I would still love to go to Harlem and get a good chopped cheese sandwich. There's a couple of stores in Harlem that sell the good ones, that make the good ones.
You
Rather
want to
say.
shout anyone out real quick?
Well, you know, Haji's is probably the infamous for the chopped cheese and the steak sandwiches. That's on 110th and First Avenue. Then you got around my block that I grew up on when I was older, 15th Street in Lenox. You got 155th Street in St. Nicholas Place, and those are the places that I know about. But there's a lot of other places within Harlem to make a good chopped cheese. 135th and 7th too. They got a good chopped cheese over there.
That's awesome. All right, so now I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and if you can, just like fire off some quick answers, all right? What's your favorite alcohol drink?
Champagne, Ace of
Okay.
Spade,
What was that second part, sorry?
Ace of Spade, Rosé, shit like that.
Nothing wrong with that. What's your favorite TV show or movie? Yep. Favorite TV show or movie, and if you can, like from even a style perspective, like my favorite movie series is James Bond. Currently, I love Succession. Yeah, as far as TV for style, anything that kind of jumps into your mind real quick?
No, I didn't. Men's Society was a great movie for me. I get
Okay.
this. That's one of the movies that always pops up in my head when people ask me what one of my favorite movies. Rain Man is another one of my favorite movies. Like how Tom Cruise was moving in there. So you know.
All right, so we have 3 more rapid fire questions before we finish. So what is your favorite phone or iPad app that you use the most? It could be something for, you use for music, for working out, or just in general, whatever you like.
Um, my Philips Hue app for my lights
I
and
have
my
Philips Hue.
studio.
It's the best. The best. Do you have it connected to your Amazon?
I no, I got it connected to my iPhone.
Alexa? Oh, your
No,
iPhone.
I don't actually have Alexa. I'm scared of Alexa. I don't know what she be listening to. I don't want her listening to the wrong conversation, but I got it hooked up to my iPhone, so when I get in the studio, I could just go on the app and turn the lights on and stuff.
Word. So, all right. So I wanted you to picture something quick. I know you go on whirlwind like tours, whether it's actual shows or you're just working left and right. Do you ever like kind of like need a time to get escape, whether it be at like a spa or like a hotel that you kind of just use to get away with, even with your wife or something? Anything pop into your head?
Usually when I want to get away, I go to Harlem and just chill out. I usually go to the dance studio and chill in front of the dance studio and just soak up the atmosphere. People don't bother me there too much. Real cool.
That's awesome. And lastly, is home decor important to you? Because I'm sure, a lot of time you're on the road. When you come home, is it kind of like, finally, I'm back? You know what I mean? Like, is it important to you?
This pandemic is the first time I sat down and realized the importance of home decor. When my lady been trying to tell me about that for so many years, like, you don't even enjoy what you work for and all the stuff that we have in this house. So now I understand what she was talking about, having a comfortable place to live, a great place to look at when you get home, and it's very dope. So I appreciate her for always making sure we got the fly shit in the crib.
Got it. All right. And I'm going to sneak in one quick last music question and then we're going to wrap up. All right. So, you've had so many moments, right? I mean, I know growing up balling, I mean, just so many hits, and especially your albums as a full body of work are unbelievable, unbelievable bodies of work. What was like a moment? It could be you or collectively with Dipset where you're like, wow, we are taking off. This is crazy. Like all my dreams are gonna like kind of be fulfilled. When did that happen and what did it feel like?
For me, from my moment, I felt like that was happening for me was when we was in Atlanta doing the Ballin' remix video, and had Puffy and Wheezy and Baby, and half the whole music industry came, and that was the same day when BET 106 called me and told me I had gained the #1 spot on 106 in Park, and if you are from that era of 106 in Park, you know how important to have that number one spot on 106 and Park video countdown was. That was like having the number one album in the country, and so that was a great moment for me. And it made me feel like I was a part of the hip hop industry.
Love it. So, Jim, I just need you to stay with me 10 more seconds because I'm going to sign off quickly. As everyone kind of found out last week, we are now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Jim, thank you. You are amazing, a legend. I cannot thank you enough. And thank you for always rocking Grungy Gentlemen well. See you guys later.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
You too. All right. So we are blessed and honored today to have on IU Hoosiers legend, Detroit Pistons legend, Isiah Thomas with us today. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, it's funny. They always say that the most stylish men are the ones that go unnoticed. And I don't think that you get a lot of credit where credit is due for your style. Whenever I see you, you're always polished, clean, and classic. How did that happen? Did your style evolve when you were working in New York, or is it something that's just always been there?
Actually, a lot of my style comes from my wife, if not all of it. She, she definitely makes sure that I'm kind of put together before I leave the house. My look is pretty traditional. I was, went to an all-boy Catholic school, grade school, high school. I always had to wear a blazer and a tie. So that's kind of my uniform. So I wear my uniform still every day. I put on my blazer and my tie and I go out. And my wife just makes sure that it's all coordinated.
So do you have any go-to brands for suits and blazers and stuff like that?
No, all my clothes are just kind of, they're custom. And, my wife picks them all out. And, so I would say that my go-to brand, and she's the stylist, so I would say it's Lynn Thomas.
Very nice. So we both are Hoosiers, so that is very special to me. So I wanted to know why. There you go. So I wanted to know why you chose IU, and when you were in school, if Coach Knight instituted a dress code.
Definitely there was a dress code, and I chose, actually my mom chose Indiana for me, because back during those days, I know a lot of young people today can make their own choices. Back then my mom was, she was running the house. So I actually wanted to stay home and, go to school, close to home at DePaul in the city. But my mom thought it was best that I go away, and also she and Coach Knight connected. And then when I made the visit to Bloomington, I had never been to Indiana, but when I made my school visit, and when you walk around the campus, I mean, I made, and fortunately enough for me, I made the visit in the fall. Mm-hmm. So the leaves were changing, everything was right, and I instantly fell in love with Bloomington, Indiana. I mean, instantly, like so many other people, I'm sure did.
Well, I completely agree. There's nothing like campus at all. So, what was a regular day in college like for you being a superstar? And I also have a second part to that question. What was game day like? Because, us IU basketball fanatics would love to know that.
So I'll complete the second the second answer to the question that you asked before.
Okay.
In terms of did Coach Knight have a dress code?
Oh, sure.
Absolutely, he did. He had to wear a blazer and a tie to every game. And, I still had my high school tie, but I didn't have a blazer. So my girlfriend, who's my wife now, she went out and she bought me a blazer. So that's how I had the blazer and the tie. But that was the game day dress that you had to wear to every game. Normal school day for me started at 9 o'clock. I tried to keep my same high school schedule and bring it into college. So started at 9 o'clock every day. I remember my first class at IU was my Soch class. And it was Soch 101. Then I had Psych 101. And fortunately enough for me, they were in the same hall. So 9, I went from 9 to 12. I would have my classes, and then we would practice every day from 2:15 to like 4:15, 4:30. And if I needed to take a 6:30 class, then I took a 6:30 class. That was my my Monday, Wednesday, Friday. My Tuesday, Thursdays were always light. I was taking 15 hours, a semester. So my Tuesday, Thursdays were light. Only had 2 classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Thursday was normally a game day because it was Big Ten. You played Thursday, Saturday. So Thursday was always a light day. And game day, you always, you would wake up, you would go to class if it was a Thursday. Then after that, you would go to training table because it was a night game at 7:30. Training table was like 3:30, 4 o'clock. You would get ready, you would eat, go back home, change, come to the game, and play. Saturday game day, it was always a 1 o'clock game. You wake up, you go to, to breakfast, team breakfast, and you would have breakfast, and you always had your choice between pancakes or eggs. I would always try to get both, but you could either have eggs or pancakes. So I would always get the pancakes, and then it was a 1 o'clock game.
Love it.
So that was game day. That was fun.
Awesome. So I want to thank you for being so instrumental in bringing Coach Knight back. That was an amazing moment. In fact, sometimes I walk around my apartment, I just scream defense, defense, like he does. So I wanted to know, did he have an influence on you when you got to the next level? Can you hear me? Hello?
100%. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Perfect.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
So
Okay.
how did he have that influence?
Yes, a huge influence. My high school coach was a great defensive coach. My high school team, we were the best defensive team in the state. When I got to Indiana, Coach Knight had the same defensive philosophy, which went into my philosophy as a player also. And at Indiana, we were the best defensive team in the country that year, ended up winning the national championship. And then moving forward with the Detroit Pistons, right? What are we known for in Detroit?
Defense.
Being a defensive, tough-minded team. So Coach Knight's influence in terms of defense, stopping people from scoring, that has been imprinted in my DNA from a very young age, and he helped influence it.
I know that MJ has said that, the Pistons roughed him up as far as defense, but I feel that, if anyone, you got tons of that treatment as far as being a star player. So who is the most tough physical person to play against, as far as them D'ing you up?
I would have to say there was 2. I would say Maurice Cheeks, Mo Cheeks, Hall of Fame point guard from Chicago, won a championship with the Philadelphia 76ers. And then I would say the second person is Alvin Robertson from a defensive standpoint. Those 2 were the 2 toughest defenders that I had to face.
All right. So this question I am so excited to ask you. So you obviously won back-to-back championships. What were those summers like? How did you celebrate? What happened? I can't wait to hear this. Hello? Oh, connection.
So it's interesting. As you know, I'm kind of, a fanatic about winning. Are you still there? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
So after we won in '89, my only thought and my only goal was to practice so I can repeat and do it again. So in '89, I remember I only took a week off, And then I got right back to practice. I went right back in the gym. And then
What?
we won again in 1990. And in 1990, I wanted to be the first in my era to three-peat. So that summer, I worked even harder. I think I only took maybe 3 or 4 days off, and I had a gym in my house, and I just kept practicing every day. And I wore out my wrist. My wrist right now, I can only bend it an inch here. So I had basically career-ending wrist surgery going into 91. And in 1991, I missed 3/4 of the season. I think I only played like maybe 20 games that season. Came back from the playoffs, got out of a cast. The doctors had told me that I shouldn't play. I played against doctor's orders. And of course, we got swept by the Bulls, and the rest is history. And I never was the same player after that. So when you say, what did I do those 2 summers? I basically wore my wrists out practicing, because there's only, as the doctor said, there's only so many bends in the wrist that you get, and I used all mine up.
Well, I'm sure Coach Knight would be proud that that's what you did after winning a championship, is practice more. That's amazing. So obviously you've traveled so much, whether the league or even with your family, who I'm very fond of. What is your favorite place to visit? And do you have a favorite place even to shop in the world?
So I have two favorite places, and my one favorite island is St. John's, Virgin Islands. That's a very special place for myself. And then Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. Those are 2 of my favorite places to visit and kind of be by the ocean, walk the beach, so forth and so on. And what was the second part of the question?
Oh, well, if you have a favorite city to shop in.
My favorite city to shop in, I got 3.
Okay.
So I would say definitely New York, Chicago, Toronto. Those are my 3 favorite spots to shop.
Can I ask why Toronto?
I spent I spent 4 years in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I was co-founder of Toronto Raptors. And while I was there, the fashion was on point. The way they dressed, the way they carried themselves, and it just fit. It was just my style. So it was a fun place to be and a fun time for me during that period of time.
I love that. So I was wondering, do you have any essentials or anything that you are willing to show the audience today with you? Something that just might mean a lot to you, whether it be, a championship ring, something that you've had with your kids. Just wondering if you had anything nearby, or if you wanted to talk about anything that's sort of near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, I have 2 things.
Oh, I can't wait.
This is, of course, my father, who fought in World War II. He was also, when we had to take over, he was in the Battle of Saipan. And that was one of the islands that was really key and strategic when we were fighting Japan. And it was called a suicide mission. However, he survived the mission.
Wow.
And so, big props to Pops for always, being the man that he was. And then, of course, followed by that, you got to have a picture of Mom, because, without Mom, none of it works. And, everything that I am, everything that I grew up to be, her values in terms of instilling the work ethic, so forth and so on in me, definitely comes from Mom. So big props to Mom. So those are my 2 things, essentials that I like to share. From a business standpoint, of course, I got my CBD, my muscle gel. Okay. We have the highest muscle gel that's on on the market right now. Our company is called Vessel,
Right.
Vessel CBD cream, and we got 5,000 milligrams of CBD. That's pure CBD, no THC. So I need that now more than ever because I'm an old man and my joints be aching. So I rub my muscle gel on, and of course, we got the champagne that you got to celebrate with. The
Nice.
largest minority owner, importer of champagne, actually in the United States. All our champagnes are low in sugar, zero sugar, first press of the grapes. We got 200 acres over in the Aube region of Champagne, which is the oldest region of Champagne. And this champagne is the fastest growing champagne in the United States. In Indiana, you can go to all of your Maya stores and get it. And waiting to go into Big Red.
Nice. Big Red Liquors. Very familiar.
Right, right.
And actually, your son Zeke, he DJ'd one of my runway shows, and he was telling me all about that champagne. I got to try it. I loved it. So you're doing a great job with that.
Well, he is actually one of the founders in the champagne company, because I hope he told you about the time that he went over to France and I told him that he was going to Paris, but he didn't know that he was going to the farmlands.
Now, okay, he might have been disappointed that he might not been in Paris, but was he very wowed by, the Parisian farms? Because it's gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely was. And we were as a family. And, that was a very critical and important time in our growth in the business, because the Sherlon family and ourselves were making a connection as families.
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua being, the DJ, and of course, music brings everybody together.
Absolutely.
So his ability to navigate that path with music and understanding was, it was a good critical time for us.
Awesome. All right. So moving on, I wanted to ask you, how you prep style wise for award shows. So if you have to go to the ESPYs or the Grammys or whatever, what would you do?
First thing I would do is my wife and I would come together, and I would say, well, what do you think of this? And she'll go, nah. And then we'll settle on something, but her taste, her fashion, and just making sure that we're right. And I just always say I just want to be different. I don't want to dress like everyone else. I want to have my own style. I want to have my own look, and I don't want to necessarily be trendy. If there's a picture taken of me today, I want it to also be, you can see it 2 years from now.
Yeah, you want to be timeless. Yep.
So that's how I try to always dress, is just, making sure that, I'm on point, I'm looking good, but I don't want to look like anybody else. I want my own style. And, back in the day, believe it or not, I started wearing different color shoes, because I would always want if I had on like a blue suit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm making it up, a red tie, then I would have I had a pair of blue and white shoes, and I had a pair of red and white shoes. So I would wear red and white shoe on the left and the blue and white on the right. And that was kind of like my style. I would always wear different shoes. And, 30 years later, now we're seeing, basketball players now have different color shoes as they're playing the game. So I was always trying to play with fashion, always trying to, step outside of the box and have my own style.
Well, you segued into my next question perfectly. So, obviously the NBA has placed such an emphasis on style, and the players have, seriously stepped their game up. Obviously, I personally credit David Stern for that beginning of the style evolution. I would love to hear what you think about the style evolution in the NBA, and then also where you think it's going from, a sense of, yes, style, but two, it's business, and they're getting a lot of the athletes are getting a lot of opportunities from it as well.
Well, and instead of I know David Stern took credit for the dress code,
Okay.
But the dress code really was implemented. It started in Toronto with myself. Then I took it to Indiana. Then I brought it to New York. And I
Hmm.
remember David Stern asking me, "How do you get your guys to wear suit and ties?" And I told him what we went through, and it was part of the formula in terms of being a pacer or being a Knick or being a Raptor. This is how you have to dress. And I learned that from Indiana. So kudos back to Coach Knight in terms of how you dress and how you present yourself on game day. And David Stern took that and then said, okay, I'm going to put in a dress code. And all of my players were like, okay, well, that's cool because we already down with it. And most of the league, I think Jamal Crawford did an interview. No, Quentin Richardson did an interview a couple of weeks ago where he said that when most of the league started dressing like the Knicks were at that time, because I was coaching the Knicks,
Hmm.
he felt like they had started a trend because before most of the league wasn't dressing. They were just, coming to the game pretty sloppy.
Hmm.
So I think that the NBA now where we're looking at in terms of fashion, I like the suit and tie game. Um, the casual game that they have right now, it's nice, but I think some of them have taken it a little too far casual, because when you get too far casual, my old coach used to say, I had a coach who used to say, you dress sloppy, you play sloppy. Dress sloppy, you play sloppy. And so we wanted to make sure that we was always tight. Even if we were casual, we wanted to make sure we were always tight. And I just hope the players don't go too far with their casual cool, but keep it tight.
You mentioned you like when men dress, in suits as far as the athletes go. Is there any player in the NBA that stands out that you do think has good style?
Um, when LeBron definitely has good style.
Yep.
He's always on television, and every time I see him, he's casual, cool, but when he needs to knot up, he can knot up also. So I like that about his whole get down, and I think he dresses appropriately for his audience. Where he's going at the time, where
Mhm.
he's going to be, and I think he's very conscious of what he wears and how it's going to be seen and portrayed on camera. And then to the other far extreme, I like Westbrook in terms of his. I don't care. This is me. I like Westbrook because he has a style that no one can really replicate,
Mhm.
uh, and his style definitely fits his personality in terms of his game.
Russell is
So
very true to himself with his style. I couldn't agree more.
yeah, so those are the two that I would say kind of stick out to me.
Awesome. This is amazing. So, do you mentor or keep in touch with any of the players who are in the NBA that went to IU, whether it be the new guys like Yogi Ferrell or Victor Oladipo?
I talked to Victor. Victor probably is the one that I talk to the most.
Hmm.
Um, he and I have a very good relationship, and we communicate, quite often. And especially when he was going through this injury in terms of recovering for it,
Hmm.
uh, there were some times that he was down, and I think he just needed a voice. And so he's the one that I've communicated with mostly from the current group of graduates. In terms of my era, we just had a Zoom call the other day. It was Randy Whitman, Mike Woodson, Quinn Buckner, and I. We were all on a Zoom call and just kicking it and talking. And so uh, once you're in the IU fraternity, and I don't mean just the basketball fraternity, I
Hmm.
mean the school and the alumni. We seem to always look out for each other. And there's that special, I don't know what it is, it's that special Bloomington love that I think we all have.
100.
Whether it be Kilroy's or whether it be Valentine Hall, whether it be just
Love this.
yeah, just walking, just it's always, it's always there.
Do you ever miss it?
All right, of course I miss it. I I used to try to go back every summer, and I would go back just to hang out. My wife and I, we actually met at Indiana,
Oh,
met
I
in
didn't
front
know
of
that.
the library. I actually proposed to her on the library steps in Bloomington,
Oh my God, that's amazing.
and I thought I was a big shot because I came back to school. I made to the MBA, so I proposed to her, on the library steps. And now I'm thinking I'm big time, right? I'm gonna pick the best hotel ever. We're gonna stay at the Union.
But the Union was, I mean, until now, the downtown is built up. The Union was the spot, 100%.
Spot, man. And I'm like, hey, I'm taking you to the Union. We was walking in there.
Oh, this is amazing.
That's pretty awesome. But yeah, I try to go back every summer, and I love IU like so many other of us do.
Yeah, I agree completely. All right, so now I'm going to move on to a little style-focused question. I wanted to know, because I want to let people know a little bit more about you. Do you have a dream watch or just a watch that you currently have that you love?
I would say the watch I got two watches that I absolutely love.
Okay.
The presidential Rolex.
Is it a
That
date? Is it a day date or a date just?
It's a Datejust,
Nice.
and then I have a Rolex. You know, I gotta put my pimp game in every now and then. So I got the diamond crusted Rolex that's with the blue face. That's pretty sweet.
So the first Rolex you mentioned, is that a steel color or is it gold? I just would love to know what it was. Rose gold.
Rose gold.
And
Yeah,
what about the diamond one? Is that platinum?
that's platinum. Yes.
Awesome. So I'm a New Yorker. We don't get to drive much. So I'm jealous of people that can use cars. What is your dream car or something that maybe you've got that you love?
So my dream car is I want I want the drop top convertible Bentley.
Okay.
Uh, and I haven't splurged to get it yet because I'm in New York also, so it's like we don't get to drive much.
Mhm.
But when I retire and and I'm living in one of those warm spots on the island, that's gonna be my car.
I mean,
Uh,
to drive
but
around in the Hamptons, that's not bad either.
Yeah, but what I'm driving right now, I'm driving a Range Rover,
Nice.
and I've had that for I've been a Range Rover driver for, I would say, the last maybe 8 to 10 years. Just different versions of it.
Awesome. So you've accomplished so much in your life. So I'm going to find this fascinating. What is your dream collaboration in or out of your field of work? So it could be something basketball related, or it could be something finance related, like working with Warren Buffett. What would you have to say?
Ooh, that's a my dream collaboration.
Shoot your shot.
You know what? I would probably want to do something. I would I know nothing about music in terms of playing instruments or anything like that, but I would love to just be able to watch like Stevie Wonder like do his thing, because I love Stevie. I've watched him in concert and everything else. But if there was some way I can do some type of collaboration with him,
Wow, that'd be amazing.
um, I don't know what that would be, but you know that would be that's the first thing that comes to my mind right now is doing something with Stevie Wonder.
Well, he's so iconic and a legend. Oh my goodness. That is awesome. So this is going to be a little bit of an interesting question. What is your favorite iPhone or iPad app? This could be for work, for business, for pleasure, whatever.
My favorite app, uh, I guess, is Google.
Nice.
uh, yeah, I mean that's yeah.
So how's it been working at NBA TV? Obviously, being able to pass on your knowledge is incredible. I watch, so I definitely get a lot of gems from you. How has that experience been?
It's been great. The thing that's been really good about it is just the generational conversations that we're able to have, because at NBA TV, as you can see, we have I guess a senior generation that comes from the 80s and the 90s, and then you have a 2000 generation, and I think we're able to really blend the conversation and have different viewpoints about time, perspective, and give that to the audience. And from a basketball standpoint, I think it's definitely educational, because not only are we able to give you current information, but I think we're also very historical in the information that we can relate to you in present time. And then we do it in a very fun way. So I've enjoyed that experience at NBA TV.
Awesome. So, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to someone that's on the brink of winning a championship, somebody that hasn't experienced that taste yet, like a Giannis or Trae Young, a Devin Booker? What would be the one advice coming from Isiah Thomas?
Um, I would say definitely stay focused. You can't, the players are so good, and when you get to that level of play, the journey is so intense
Mm-hmm.
that any lapse in concentration, that opponent is going to take advantage of, whether it's on the court or off the court. So if you're that close to winning a championship, the level of concentration that you must maintain every single day from a focus standpoint has to be sharp and on point, because any mistake that you make, if you don't eat right, if you don't sleep long enough, if you don't practice right, if you don't play right, me being your opponent, I'm going to take advantage of
Wow, that's a great answer. So, as far as off the court stuff goes, I wanted to ask you quickly. When you would be traveling, whether you were working with the Raptors, working with the Knicks, when you finally got home, was it like, is home decor important to you? Because I'm figured that you must be just sort of go 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 go. I just wanted to know if that's important to
It's extremely important, and that's a great question, because whenever I walk outside the front door,
you. Mm-hmm.
I belong to the public, and my attitude, my persona, my greetings, my presence, it's all for public consumption.
Mm-hmm.
It's all also for the public to judge. So there's a certain
Yeah, home.
that you got to always maintain. So when you come home, that's the place where I'm always like,
Yep.
you can exhale, and you know you can kind of just be in your own safe environment without judgment. And it's home, and it truly is the only place that I can be in where the love is unconditional and there's no judgment. But the minute I walk outside that front door, I'm faced with having to deal with the altered perception of what may be occurring on that day. So home is like, it's a sanctuary.
You're a family guy, so I can totally understand that. All right, so before we wrap up, I have two more questions for you. The first one is, what does IU have to do to, I guess, take that next step in basketball to return to the prominence that obviously you experienced? Because I need another one of those Isiah cutting down the nets moments pretty soon.
We are all in the business and of talent acquisition, and you have to be able to recruit the best players. And if you can't recruit the best players and get the best talent, then you chances are you're not going to be winning too many championships. So what IU has got to continue to get better at is recruiting and getting the best talent. Because if you can get the best talent, then you got a chance to win. Alabama wins in football. It gets close to winning in football every year now. Clemson and LSU, because they get the best football talent. Kentucky for a while was getting the best talent, and you got to be able to swim in that pool and be able to grab the big fishes out, and you got to be able to recruit and get talent. That's what the game's all about.
Did they ever tap you to help with recruiting or no?
Let's just say not enough.
Well, you know what? They need to make a quick phone call because that would be powerful. 100%.
Yeah, let's just say not enough.
Got it. And to wrap up, I just wanted you to, if you could, give us your best story from being an IU Hoosier, and then if you could, your best story from your NBA playing days.
My best story from being a Hoosier.
Besides your wife, because that's besides proposing, because that's amazing.
Yeah, it would have to be. So you want a basketball story?
If we could, or it could be whatever you like.
Okay, so my best story would probably be, and it's a fun story, and it has nothing to do with basketball, but a little bit. So when I after my freshman year, I wanted to move out of the dorm. I was staying at GRC, which is called Ashton now, and I wanted to move into the apartments, and I was moving into Fountain Park apartments, and you got your scholarship check in November,
Mm-hmm.
so you can pay your tuition. So, well, school started. School started like August, September. So from September to like November, I was kind of homeless. I didn't have a place to stay. I would stay at different friends' places, and I would crash at their place. And they would always be like, "Hey man, well let's go to your place." And I'd be like, "Nah, we good. Let's stay here. Let's stay at your house, tonight." So it finally got to the point where my girlfriend, who's my wife now, finally said to me, she goes, "Do you have a place to stay? Because you're constantly here." And then I had to break down and tell her the story that no, I didn't have a place. So my good story at IU was that I was homeless for like a month and a half.
So crazy to me.
And I was roaming around the campus, finding different places to sleep at until my scholarship check came in so I can pay my rent. So, but that was a fun time because I got to stay at everybody's house and eat everybody's food. So.
Do you think it's good that the NCAA is working on fixing that problem? Because that's really crazy to me.
Absolutely. I think now that they've, it's 2020 and the NC2A has finally realized like, okay, and I think it's taken the pandemic to show everyone that, okay, there's a lot of money being made off these student athletes.
Tons.
So, I think it's good that they've taken the steps to kind of, make sure that the athletes are taken care of and making sure that they do have a place to stay, food to eat, and so forth and so on.
And what about the Pistons?
My best Piston story, is whenever I think of the Pistons, I'm always thinking about, winning back-to-back championships and, winning it at the highest level. When you can say that you're the best team in the world at the highest level, there really is no greater feeling than that from an athletic standpoint. So, winning in college, winning at Indiana was special also, but winning at the NBA level took on a totally different type of significance.
Was there any relief in that?
Definitely always relief when you're chasing. And, I have a big reputation, but I'm really a small man.
Mm-hmm.
And the players that I was competing against, not only did they have big reputations, but they also were, they were more gifted in terms of size, weight, and jumping ability in terms of athleticism. So trying to beat, Bird, Magic, and Jordan during that period of time definitely took a lot of concentration. But at the end of the day, once you conquered, that was definitely it was a joyous moment, but it was also a moment of relief.
Obviously, you always have confidence, so I want to end it on this. But was there ever a moment where you were like, "Oh man, I can't believe we got them"? Like, was there ever a playoff game or just a team that you played against that you? And of course, you're confident, but just were like, I'm not sure if we got this tonight, but you ended up pulling it out.
Always the Boston Celtics.
Man, they had a squad.
I mean, trying to beat them was it definitely was the hardest thing that I had to try to do in the NBA from a competition standpoint was beat the Celtics. And once we got past them, or even when you beat them, you just wasn't quite sure that like you had won, because they were that good and they were that smart. So they were a tough competitor.
Was there anyone in college that's similar like that?
Believe it or not, from a coaching standpoint, Lute Olson, when he was at Iowa, Lute Olson and Coach Knight in the Big Ten, Iowa with Lute Olson, they always gave us problems. I felt pretty much in college we were capable of dominating most teams on any given night. But from a strategic playing against them, style of play, Lute Olson with Iowa, they were always difficult to beat.
I love it. Well, this was an absolute honor. Thank you so much. Also give a lot of props to your wife for me, because she does great with your style game. I think, people need to recognize that a lot more.
I would definitely do that. And, I was on the cover of GQ magazine, not because of my style, but because of her style.
Actually, can I quickly ask you about that? How was that experience? I mean, oh my goodness, to be on the cover of GQ, literally the Bible for style for Americans. What was that like?
It was great, especially during that period of time, because no other NBA player had ever been on the cover of GQ magazine.
Oh wow, you were first?
I was the first one.
Wow.
I was the first one on GQ magazine, and then they did the 50 most beautiful people in People. So I made that. I don't know how I made that, but I guess they liked basketball at that time, and they were trying to get the NBA involved. And but that was the GQ shoot was a great shoot, and I'm trying to remember the photographer's name. He was one of the most famous photographers ever. It's slipping my mind right now.
Mario Testino, Bruce Weber. I'm trying to think for you.
Oh no, God.
Have you ever have you ever been in the airport and you've seen yourself on the cover of like Sports Illustrated or GQ and be like, oh, that's me?
That's weird. That is really weird when that happens. Like when you walk in and you like look at the magazine and you see yourself over there, it's kind of like that's you, but it's not you, because that's like a totally different persona or whatever it's going on. It's definitely weird, but it's cool.
I was about to say, it's got to be pretty cool. GQ, that's serious. Sports Illustrated, you might be used to, but GQ, that's awesome.
No, that was nice. That was nice.
Well, thank you again. Once again, you were incredible. Go Hoosiers. And it was wonderful talking to you.
It's good talking to you also, and thank you.
All right. I'll speak to you soon.
All right.